This is Chris Heinonen from Secrets of Home Theater with a review of the Pioneer BDP-09 Blu-ray disc player. The BDP-09 is Pioneer's new top-of-the-line, elite-level Blu-ray disc. Includes all the current features with Blu-ray, including Profile 2.0 for online extras and updates, as well as support for all the audio codecs, including DTS Master Audio. The BDP-09 is constructed like a top-end Blu-ray disc player, featuring dual power supplies for audio and video, a Blu-ray recorder drive mechanism with less errors than a standard Blu-ray drive mechanism, as well as Wolfson DACs for each individual audio output channel. The BDP-09 has the standard Pioneer Elite component look with the glossy front and amber display, as well as solid steel baseplate and heavy aluminum side panels. It also features feet that absorb vibration, so you wouldn't need some aftermarket vibration level dampening to go underneath it. The one downside that I have with the BDP-09 is the same that I had with the BDP-51, where it has to fully boot before it can even eject a disc from the system. Here you can see this happening. It takes about 40 seconds for it to power up and be able to eject a disc before you can put a different one in. However, most people are probably willing to overlook this in the BDP-09 due to its powerful audio and video capabilities. One feature is dual HDMI outputs, which is very useful for people with a projector and a flat panel display, or that want to run one for video and one for audio. Now that we've gone over some of the features and capabilities of the Pioneer BDP-09, let me show you a tour through the menu system of the 09 for these settings. Right now I can, from the remote, choose between the different output resolutions I want, from Source Direct all the way up to 1080p. When I change, it will prompt me to say that I might choose a resolution that isn't supported by my TV just in case. I'm going to go with 1080p as that's what my TV supports, though the Pioneer did not detect my TV correctly. It saw it as 1080i 60, which is probably due to the TV reporting that and not the Pioneer player itself. The initial setup menu is used in the 09 to set up most of the video and audio features. Here I'll choose my TV's aspect ratio as well as how I want standard 4:3 content to be displayed. For the audio out, do I want HDMI, digital, or analog outputs? As you can see, some choices are grayed out based off what I've selected. These would be available if I had chosen, for example, digital output, where I might have to reduce how Dolby Digital, True HD, and DTS Master Audio tracks are output over that previous digital output. For speakers, I can choose between 2-channel or multi-channel. When I go to the speaker setup, I can select if my speakers are small or large, if I have a subwoofer, and in the recent firmware, which isn't seen here, I can also select the crossover value for these speakers. So it could be, instead of a standard 80 Hz, down to 50 Hz, up to 100 Hz. For speaker distance, I can choose the individual distance for each speaker down to the inch. The reason all of this control over the analog outputs is so important is that many receivers and processors, when using that multi-channel analog input, it bypasses all these selections inside of your receiver or processor, so the player has to do it instead. Here I can set up the channel levels to a certain decibel amount, so I can say the left or right channels might be higher, the center might be lower, subwoofer might be higher or lower. Once again, things your receiver or processor typically does, but if you're using the analog outputs and the Wolfson DACs, you would do this in the player since your receiver or processor might not allow this. Under the HDMI menu, I can choose if I want HDMI high speed or 1.3, my color space of my display. I can enable the Pioneer Quartz Lock system with a Pioneer Elite receiver and the Kuro link with a Pioneer display. The HDMI sub lets me set high-speed transmission and HDMI color space for the secondary HDMI output that comes with this Pioneer Elite Blu-ray disc player. And there are some additional options, such as the default language I want for subtitles, parental locks to keep children off of certain movies. The network options let me set up the Ethernet output to connect for BD Live, as well as for firmware updates. What's notable is the network allows me to test the network connection without having to download an updated firmware or go into a BD Live title to make sure it's working, which some other players don't include, and makes it much easier to verify you have everything set up correctly. Finally, there are some more options such as enabling the screensaver, auto power off if it's not been used in a while, starting a software update to make sure that you have the most recent firmware, as this currently does, you can see. Setup Navigator would allow me to restart the initial setup of the player that it does the first time you power it on when you remove power. Going back to the main screen, we can see update information, which contains website links for us, or can download the new firmware from that. Then there's the home media gallery, which if you've inserted an audio CD or a data, DVD, or Blu-ray disc, you can browse through the tracks on there, or the folder structure of one containing MP3s or DivX files, for example. Finally, we can see here the on-screen displays that are available while playing back a disc. We will be able to see the audio and video codecs being used, the current bit rates, and the time remaining on the current chapter. For more information or to read the complete review, you can visit the Secrets of Home Theater and High Fidelity website at hometheaterhifi.com. Thank you.